Hey there, I'm Michael Williams, your island chef. Welcome to my kitchen. On today's show, we're going to be tackling powerful breakfasts. For everybody, that may be a little bit different, but for me, that means some vegetable, fruit, a little bit of protein, some healthy fats. When I get that nice balanced meal, staying away from processed foods, I find that I'm just firing on all cylinders, right? The rest of the day just falls into place. So we're going to do 3 recipes today. We're going to start it off with a cumin roasted yam and fried egg. From there, we're going to move on to a strawberry mango smoothie. Going to get some protein in that one too. And then we're going to finish it off with a cinnamon roasted apple and coconut yogurt. All 3 recipes delicious, great ways to start the day. All that is coming up on today's show. So we're gonna get working here on our onion. I'm just gonna do some diced red onion, and we'll get that started in our pan. Okay, so just gonna do some large dice here, and my pan is actually already warm, so I'll be able to drop this right in. Okay, so we're also going to chop up a little bit of garlic here, and I'm actually just going to slice it and leave it fairly thick, and we'll throw it into the pan with the red onion, and it will kind of roast at the same time, caramelize a little bit, and it's going to be delicious. Make no mistake though, with these delicious bites of roasted garlic in this breakfast dish, you're definitely going to want to brush your teeth before you head out for the day. So this is going to be the start of our dish. We've got our nice thick sliced garlic, our diced onions. We're going to get them going in the pan. Then we're going to add in some steamed yams, okay? And that's going to be a beautiful little bed for our fried eggs to sit upon. And the way I like to do it is really nice over easy eggs so that you crack that yolk and it just, ends up coating a nice sauce into the dish. It's really, really beautiful. It's a great, great, great dish. And, again, veggies to start the day, awesome. So I've got a hot pan here. I'm just going to get some coconut oil into there. And then we're going to drop in our onions and garlic. And then we'll just need to, stir those every couple of minutes until they're nicely caramelized and ready for our yams. So, as far as the yams go, you have a choice. You can either peel your yam or leave the skin on. Now, if you're going to peel it, vegetable peeler works great. If you want to get a little bit of extra nutrition and you're okay with that little bit of extra kind of fiber to bite into, then give it a really good scrub. Get one of those potato scrubbers and scrub it really well. And I scrub it so that it kind of, just softens the skin up a little bit. And from there, you can then dice your yam. What I would do is, right now we're roly-poly. So what I always do in that situation is give yourself a cut and then roll it onto that cut edge. Okay, from there, you can cut it like so. And then you take your slices, line them up, a couple cuts that way, and then like so, and you end up with a nice dice. Our yams are now ready to hit the steamer basket, okay? And we'll steam those off until they're tender, still a little bit firm, but definitely soft enough to eat. And don't forget to give your onions and garlic a stir. Want to get them nicely brown on all sides. Now, something else we're going to add to our dish, some fresh rosemary. As an option, you don't need to, but guess what? It's delicious. If I can get this sprig off. That sprig was messing with me. So I'm just going to run my fingers from the top to the bottom, like so, and that pulls off all the leaves. This top little section here you can break off separately. It is, up here it's soft enough. This is the new growth, right? So we're not worried about the stem up there. but down here the stem starts getting a little bit thicker and woodier, and we don't want that. That's going to be not a very nice texture in our finished dish. So that's the whole point of removing the stem. And then from here, you just want to chop it up a little bit. So that's perfect, just like that. Our fresh rosemary is ready to go into the pan once we're at the end of our cooking process. Right now though, we're ready to get our yams in, so let's do that. So as you can see, our garlic and onions have caramelized nicely browned all around, and we're ready for our yams, which, as I said, have been steamed. And they steamed for about 10 minutes or so till they were soft. That's all it took. And we're just going to, coat them, get them some flavor from the pan as well. Not really so much caramelize them though. Maybe we're going to add in just a touch more oil, and we're going to get in nice sea salt, whole cumin, and fresh ground black pepper. So let's just get this seasoned with that sea salt, some whole cumin seeds, and a little bit of fresh black pepper. Stir it around, and we want to toast that cumin seed just a little bit. At this stage, we can also add in our rosemary. In goes that fresh rosemary. Stir that up, and this first portion of the recipe is almost ready to hit the plate. And how does that look? Wow, smells amazing. I think it looks fantastic. All right, let's dish this up. Now, these would be, for my liking, pretty large portions. You could probably get 3 out of this easily. So I'm just going to load up the extra into this second plate, I should say. And then we'll make sure we have a nice clean bottom. Add a little bit of extra oil. And then crack our eggs. I'm just going to do 2 at a time here. Get our second egg in there. Now, while those cook, bring this over, and we're going to finish this dish off. Now, actually, let me just season our eggs as well. A little bit of salt and pepper on those guys. We're going to finish this off just right with some Parmesan, okay? Some Parmigiano Reggiano, the real stuff. So we'll get that grated. And as far as your eggs go, I mean, you can do it how you want. Whatever your favorite egg is, whether it's scrambled or over easy, over hard. For me, the beautiful over easy, or even a sunny side up, as I was saying, once you crack that yolk and the yolk kind of spills into the yam, it's just beautiful. Really, really nice. So, right now we're going to go with the sunny side up. And just take a look at that. Doesn't that look great? Let me finish that off with a little bit of Parmesan. Now, if you happen to have some crispy bacon just sitting in your oven, like I do right now, well, it'd be the perfect opportunity to place that bacon right on top, right before you dig in to this delicious looking, amazing breakfast, which I'm going to do right now. A little bit of yam. You can see the delicious runny yolk. Mix that up with the yam. Get a bit of egg. Finish it off. Just right with a bite of bacon. Cumin roasted yam and fried egg. This is one of my favorite breakfasts. Great way to start the day. There you have it. Next up, we're gonna work on that mango strawberry smoothie. Now, I feel a little bit guilty about giving you this recipe right as the BC apple coffers have almost been depleted. You see, we harvest our apples in the fall and up to the beginning of the winter, and we hold on to them and release them slowly over the coming months. Well, now we're almost at the bottom of the barrel. So BC apples will soon be disappearing for the summer, but keep your eyes open after the summer for them to start coming back into stock. So, we're carrying on with our power breakfast. Now we're gonna make a smoothie, super quick and simple. Conversely from what we just did, which took a little bit longer, a little bit more involved, this is a great way to get some good nutrition into you. We're gonna make a mango strawberry smoothie, and we're gonna sneak some apple in there too, as well as a few other things. First, we're gonna cut up this apple though. So there's a couple different ways you can approach this. I'm gonna do this though. I'm gonna cut it in half, okay? And then into quarters. And then each quarter, first flop it down onto one of the cut sides, and then just on a little 45, we're gonna cut the core out. Okay, and we're not gonna use all of the apple in the smoothie, so we'll just drop a couple pieces in there. Let's prep up our mango. Now this is my favorite, the Atulfo mango, and the easiest way to prep this, I find, veggie peeler, okay? Peel the skin off with the veggie peeler, and then I'll show you how to cut it up after that. First though, we want to get all that skin off, and you can see with a good peeler how easy that skin comes. Okay, make sure we get the top as well, and then a little bit on the bottom, and then we're good to start cutting. So now, what we want to do is cut the flesh off the pit. And you'll notice one way is narrow and one way is wide. We want to cut against the pit the wide way, because that's the way the pit's running. Okay, so I'm going to just get that started, and I'll actually lay it down. That's usually the easiest way. And once you're on the pit, you just want to kind of slide your knife back and forth, and you don't want to push too hard into the pit, otherwise it'll get caught. Okay, so there's one half. And there's our other half. And then at this point, you can kind of trim a little bit more off of the pit. And now we're ready to dice, okay? And that's just gonna be as simple as like so. Our blender's gonna do most of the chopping for us. Okay, in goes our mango. All right, let's toss in our strawberries. Okay, now, because we're using frozen strawberries, what's gonna happen is they're gonna make everything nice and cold, which is great, but they're also gonna add some thickness. Now, if I wasn't using frozen fruit, I'd probably add some ice to my smoothie. So you either use kind of frozen fruit or add some ice. So I'll leave that with you. Now, we're pretty good with our, fruit component. We've got some nice apples in there, organic I might add. Some mango, really gonna add some nice sweetness. And we got our strawberries. So let's talk about some other things. I've got here some sunflower seeds, some raw sunflower seeds that I've soaked to begin the sprouting process. Not only does it do that, but it also softens them up, right? Which is great for our smoothie. So let's add some of them in there. Now, what else are they gonna do, these little sunflower seeds? Well, they're gonna give us some protein, which is kind of a hard thing to find in a smoothie, right? There are quite often lots of sugar in many smoothies, fruits, so lots of carbohydrates, but protein is often lacking. So we're good so far. Let's get some yogurt in there, shall we? Now, you remember I just mentioned about those mangoes, right? Really sweet, super sweet mangoes. The natural sweetness of the mango is enough sugar for me, so plain yogurt is the key. I don't like to use the sweetened yogurts because they're sweetened, you know, with quite a bit of sugar, I find, in general. So just a little bit of plain yogurt to add some creaminess and get some more protein. Now, we need to talk about liquid, okay? We don't quite have enough liquid in here to make it go. Yeah, it's gonna be really, really thick and have a hard time kind of pureeing, depending on how good your blender is anyways. So we have a few choices for liquid. We could go with juice, right? But that for me kind of brings that sugar thing into context again. For me, there's enough flavor going on in there already. So water would be another option. And I think we're gonna go with water today. Something else we could go with is coconut milk. We've already got the sunflower seeds in there, so the fat content's already there. We probably don't wanna add too much more fat, so maybe another day. Regular old milk would be another option. Today, we're just gonna go with my remineralized and alkalized water from my handy dandy filter here. Okay, so we're not gonna add a bunch of water in here. I'm just gonna add a little bit just to make sure it gets going. And then if we need to, we'll adjust the consistency after the fact. So, you wanna let that run, you know, depending on your blender, long enough to make sure everything gets nice and smooth. Otherwise it wouldn't be a smoothie, right? Now, if you want to take it to the next level, I would recommend tossing in some greens. Nice green product. We've got some sea greens and fruit greens and veggie greens here. And it just, you know, lots of antioxidants and just a way to kind of bump up your nutritional profile. Vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. So I, you know, normally have a scoop of greens a day. I'll quite often just mix them up into water, but every once in a while, throw it into the smoothie. You'll notice that I'm putting it in at the end as well, because they are kind of temperature sensitive, so we just want to stir it into the smoothie. Now, let's get a couple glasses. So, let's pour up some smoothie here. One for you, and one for me. Plus a little bit of leftovers just in case we're still thirsty. Yeah, that's delicious. All that natural smoothness, or sweetness, I should say, from the mango. That apple adds a lovely texture. We've got so much, you know, vibrancy, nutrition in here. Mango, strawberry smoothie, delicious. So, there you have it. One more recipe to go, our cinnamon roasted apple and coconut yogurt. First step to this recipe, perfectly toasted coconut. So, as you can see, we've already gotten a bit of a start on this one. I'm going to warm up our frying pan because we're going to roast some apple next. Now, what are we making? Remember? No? You forgot? Roasted apple and coconut yogurt, right? Now, we've started off with our coconut flakes, which we toasted. They toast really quickly, so you got to keep a close eye on them. Just want to add a little bit of color to them. Now we're going to roast our apple. We've got our pan warming up, and I showed you how to chop the apple earlier by cutting it in half and then into quarters and then on a little angle. And now I'm going to show you a different way. So this time, instead of cutting it right down the middle, I'm going to cut on either side of the core. Okay, so I'm going to make a cut here and make a cut here, right? So those pieces don't have any core in them. And now we're just going to cut that, and there we go. Now, just gonna dice that up. Okay, and then this guy we'll have to cut into a couple slices, and then slice those slices into strips, and then cut those strips into diced. Okay. Let's cut these last pieces up, and then we're going to hit the pan. Gonna caramelize and concentrate these apples down a little bit. Some butter. And then once they are nicely browned, we're going to add some cinnamon to the pan just for the last minute or so, and it's gonna be wonderful. All right, so just need a bowl, some yogurt, and a spoon. And we're gonna start throwing this together. So we're going with the Greek yogurt this time. Very thick and rich. Okay, want to get a little bit of that in the bottom of our bowl. I think our apples need a little bit of love right now. So we're not quite there yet. We want, as I said, we want to get some color on these guys a little bit, get them nicely brown on all sides. And this process that I'm doing here, you can do in a big batch, and I love to. And what happens after you cool them down, you just keep them in the fridge and they're ready to go for many applications. While we're waiting for those apples to finish up, I'm just going to show you a neat little trick here. This is going to be just a little garnish that we can use to finish off our dish, just for fun. Just want to slice that apple into some really thin wedges, and then we'll fan it out a little bit like that. Just a really simple little garnish that we can use to finish our dish off with later. Just going to give my apples another stir here. And then we're going to talk about some healthy fats, right? So we've got our yogurt here. We've got some hemp seeds, which we're going to use. Delicious hemp seeds, not only protein, fiber, lots of vitamins and minerals, but a good healthy fat profile as well. Our coconuts, another good healthy fat, in combination with the hemp seeds, we're going to have some good stuff going on here. Now, our apples are getting close. Let's grab some cinnamon while we're waiting here. So we're getting pretty darn close here. These apples have caramelized nicely. They're looking pretty good. I could let them go a little bit farther, but you know what? This is good to go. So we'll finish them off now with a little bit of cinnamon. And we just want to toast that cinnamon a little bit in the hot pan. Not too long, because it'll burn pretty quickly. So 30 seconds to a minute, that's all you need once the cinnamon's in. You want to make sure your apples are nicely browned before that. Then the cinnamon goes in, and just a quick flash, and it roasts those spices out nicely. Now, before I put this on my yogurt, I just want to cool it down a little bit. So I'm just going to put it right here for the moment. Now, we've got plain yogurt here, right? Greek yogurt, plain yogurt. Again, I don't like buying sweetened yogurt. I'm okay with a little bit of maple syrup though. That's one of my go-to sweeteners. So we'll just give a little drizzle of that. Looking good. Now we can add some of our apple. I mean, ideally let it cool down a little bit more, but you could serve it warm too. As I was saying earlier though, have it done ahead of time and just pull it right out of the fridge to put this together. You could have some of your toasted coconut done ahead of time. Pile that on top real nice like, and finish it off with some of the fresh apple, which just gives it that, nice freshness, a little bit of contrast, and all of a sudden we've got one delicious looking breakfast. So this is, looking really good. Nice, beautiful presentation. The creaminess of the Greek yogurt, natural sweetness of the caramelized apples, the cinnamon, touch of maple syrup. I love this. Great way to start the day. Roasted apple, coconut yogurt. Okay, leftover coconuts, storage container, ready for next time. These guys in the fridge, including the maple syrup. You may not know, real maple syrup needs to go in the fridge. The other stuff, not so much. This stuff does. And I learned the hard way that it grows mold. if you don't. So that's why. Now, that brings us to the conclusion of breakfast, but not just any breakfast. Powerful breakfast, right? We're talking about firing on all cylinders after breakfast, kind of getting us set up for the rest of the day. Lots of good nutrition, vitamins, minerals, fruits, vegetables, a little bit of protein, some healthy fats. That's when I'm at my best. And we started it off with a cumin roasted yam with fried egg. Remember that dish? So delicious. Crack that egg on top of the yams. Really beautiful, like brunch dish, but also just a great way to start the day. Then we moved on to a strawberry mango smoothie, snuck in a little bit of apple, as well as lots of other good nutrition. Smoothies are great for that. And then we finished it off with the roasted apple and coconut yogurt. Really tasty, simple. A lot of that stuff can be done ahead of time. Great breakfast. Now, the recipes, all of them, countrygrocer.com. They're there for you, along with hundreds of others. Thanks for being with us, and see you next time.
Country Grocer.